G'day, Ben from Sydney Design Thinking. We've just had our 114th meetup, which was our 10th birthday, and we had 5 awesome speakers sharing a bunch about designing for spatial interactions and in living systems and things. If you're in Sydney, come and join us at the Sydney Design Thinking. We're a community of 10,000 people, and we're also part of the Australian Design Thinking Collective. So if you're in Brisbane or Byron or Adelaide and soon to be Melbourne, then join your local place-based Sydney Design Thinking community, or join us online, and look forward to catching up with you soon. And if you're Sydney, come and hang out. Welcome to Sydney Design Thinking number 114 and our 10th birthday. We're lucky to have a bunch of awesome people coming to share some interesting stuff tonight, and I've got an echo, won't be a sec. I'll stay over here so I can't hear myself repeating.
It's not too bad.
It's very distracting. Awesome, so welcome again. How is everyone? Hopefully everyone got some birthday cake. Awesome. Pizza, drinks, and game on for another decade. So we're lucky to have 5 awesome speakers coming to share some stuff again tonight, who will intro in a moment. I'll get to the right screen. And to kick off, just want to acknowledge that we're on Gadigal country and pay our respects to elders past, present and future as well. So we're very lucky to have extremely supportive sponsors that help make this happen every month and have done over the last 10 years. ThoughtWorks, that's the space we're in right now. So thanks Kate and ThoughtWorks for hosting us and sponsoring. And ThoughtWorks has actually been a sponsored for the very first time back in 2015. So for our 3rd ever meetup, Kate and the ThoughtWorks team sponsored drinks. And then from the beginning of 2016, they're actually hosting us in their old office before we moved over into this office. So a long time, very supportive sponsor, and SydDT wouldn't have become what it's become without support of Kate and ThoughtWorks. Thank you very much. And over here, we've got Alan and Diana, who are going to tell us about shapeshifters. What's going on there?
Thanks, Ben. Hi, everyone. We're Shapeshifters. We're a creative... No? Well, I mean, we are very creative, but we're a creative agency. We do strategic communication design, and we help teams communicate more effectively internally as well as externally through human-centered design and visual communication. And you're right, Ben, it's very distracting. We also run our own meetup. It's a morning meetup. It's called Think Visual. It happens every second Wednesday of the month, and through it we encourage visual thinking in no matter what industry you're in. So we think that visual thinking is something very important no matter what you do, and we've brought that into Sydney Design Thinking over the past year.
Yes, we weren't content that we had 50 people sketching at Think Visual on average. So we think, it needs to happen in more places. Oh, that's really nice. No.
Thank you.
And one of the things that we do with Sydney Design Thinking is we sponsor a little initiative, which is anybody who's keen to live scribe, which is the act of kind of sketching in real time a conversation. We offer a free mentoring session, and we provide some support throughout the night. And tonight we have design extraordinaire Sarah Heimeier, who is for the first time, might I add. So it's not easy to do this in a live setting, but it's a great chance to practice. And in live settings, it's really fun. It's lots of fun. So we hope if anybody's actually interested in this, please come and speak to us, or Amy over there who's wearing another one of these things. Yes, come and speak to us, and yeah, we can arrange a mentoring session.
Awesome. Thank you. We can do better than that.
Yeah.
Woo! And thanks, Sarah, for sketchnoting tonight, live, in real time, so we can watch it evolve as the night evolves. So, SydDT Design Thinking is brought to you lovingly every month by this group of people. So, big shout out to Lucas, Kate, and Kylie. And remembering the last 10 years, also a shout out to Kingsley, James, and Zoe, who are part of the team over the last 10 years as well. So Zoe, and the thing is you have to leave the country or the state to leave the organising team. So Zoe took it to the extremes and moved to the States last year, and Kingsley and James both moved interstate in Australia. So a big thanks to them for all the work they did over the last 10 years as well. You probably noticed that 3 weeks ago we hit the 10,000 member mark. So, and somewhere in this room is Mr. 10,000. There he is. So I happened to bump into Fernando at a CTO conference, and he'd actually been many times, well, a couple of times before, because Berta dragged him along, but he'd never bothered actually joining the group. So when I said we're stuck on 9,999, he did it in real live in real time, and I managed to record it. And so we've got the moment that we hit 10,000 members on video.
Magical moment.
The magical moment. And tonight we hit 1,000 members in our Australian Design Thinking LinkedIn group as well. So Lucas wants to do all the desies.
10 years, 100 plus meetups, 1,000 LinkedIn members, active LinkedIn members too, and 10,000 meetup members.
So it's an awesome community. So the main thing is to say thanks to everyone that's in the room for being an awesome part of the community, and to the other 9,900 odd who can't physically fit into the room at the same time. So it's awesome to be part of a great community. And you've probably noticed as well that we've sort of been growing this collective about how our community is sort of stitched together. So in February, Adelaide Design Thinking kicked off. That's led by Tash Valentine and Maz Raymond. So they're leading the Adelaide Design Thinking meetup. Last week, officially, Byron and Brisbane, they were both operating under IXDA banner. They've now both become Byron Design Thinking and Brisbane Design Thinking. And next month, maybe August, Melbourne Design Thinking will come online too. So a great little collective where we collaborate. It's place-based, local people doing it with their local community, so it's not Sydney landing and expanding. It's helping people get off the ground where they'd like some help, and definitely about collaboration, not centralised control. It's definitely not that model. And the meetup, the LinkedIn group is the online place where we can all sort of collaborate and keep that online connection going. Also want to say a big thanks and shout out to Will, Stuart and Gabe, who designed the new brand. So you probably noticed that in the last week a new visual identity has gone live. So Will and Gabe have done that work as part of our broader collective. So a massive thanks to them for their work. I'm not going to read out all the sponsors, but these are a bunch of the sponsors that have been a key part of sponsoring and collaborating with SydDT Design Thinking over the last 10 years. So a bunch of awesome organisations, awesome people in those organisations, and investing in the community, which is really, we only collaborate with and work with sponsors who are values aligned, and it's about investing in and helping build community, not to flog stuff. So hopefully you never get the sense that when you come to SydDT that you're getting flog stuff. It's actually organisations investing in the community. Also, it is our 10th birthday, so I've got to say a lot of thanks. A massive thanks to all the speakers and sketchnoters and people who come and share and take photos and bring friends and all of that good stuff. Over the last 10 years, up until tonight, we've had 191 speakers, and we are very committed to having gender representation as well. So less than 50% blokes, which is something that sometimes that takes a bit of effort, but I think it's important that we actually have good representation of all dimensions, but including gender. Coming up next month, we've got another 5 speakers. So it's NAIDOC week in July. And so we're going to be celebrating NAIDOC Week, and specifically around celebrating Indigenous First Nations innovation and entrepreneurship. So collaborating with Steven Rianna, and he's put together a bunch of mob-led ventures to then share a bit of their stories as well. Did you want to do a very quick one on?
Yeah, sure. So then in August we've got Matt Anderson and Rob O'Donnell. They're coming to give us a corporate therapy session. So think about all that dumb shit we do in business that you have to deal with day to day, and so you can come and unpack some of that and think about how you can design a better organisation to make us more successful designers, because you've got to deal with all that shit before you can get your designs out to market. So it's going to be a really interesting session. It'll be a really fun and interactive session as well. In September we'll have Frank Newman. He's done a lot of physical installations in as part of Vivid and in the Opera House, and he's done a lot of in-person workshops, and he's going to take us through a deviant design activity. He's got some of his own problems to solve that we're all going to crowdsource, and for his non-for-profit he's trying to start up. But we want to get teams to come in, and you can work as a team to learn the practice, and so you can take that practice back into your team at work. So that's coming up in September. Thank you.
Thank you. And hopefully everyone saw that you've got an opportunity to win something for tomorrow. Ricardo, what are they going to have the chance to win? If you haven't already entered the draw, hit that QR code quickly.
All right, so hello everyone. My name is Ricardo. I'm the CEO and founder of Ecos. Ecos is an innovation lab. We've been operating in Australia since 2015. So as you can see from my accent, I'm not from here, from Brazil, but living here for the last, I don't know, few years. Yeah. Anyway, and I met these guys probably 2016 or 15. Anyway, so it's been a long time. Congratulations on this beautiful community you're building here. Yeah. Anyway, so what we're doing here, we're gonna give a prize, not this Friday, next Friday, on the 20th of June. It's 2 tickets for the Design Thinking and AI. So we're gonna do we're gonna draw the winner tonight. So stick on. And thanks, man. Thanks, Lucas. Thanks the whole community for that. So I hope to see you in the course, and I'll be the whole night here with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Ricardo and the Echo Group. So it's an awesome prize, $850 a ticket. So hit that, being the chance to win. Whew. So after much tech shenanigans that haven't quite resolved, we are going to do a fireside chat. I'm going to intro Steven and Rianna, the kickoff, and they're going to do a interesting hybrid mix of how can we make cobble bits of tech together to actually do a fireside chat with somebody in Macau. So really stoked to have Steven, Rianna, Jessie, Ian and Jason in Macau to join us tonight. They'll each share a bit about what they're up to, so I'm not going to read bios and stuff. But come on up, Steven, and are you both going to come up? How are we going to do this? Awesome. So I've been lucky to know Steven since about 2012 or something.
Yeah, 2012, yeah, 2012, and he used to be my mentor. When I was trying to find a $20 an hour job.
When he was still doing awesome stuff at USyd.
Yeah.
It was an awesome program that the IXDA Sydney community used to run with the mentoring, if anyone remembers that. So that's how we met. Actually, I met Liz back then as well. It's like a reunion tour. And Rianna's been...
my classmate.
I know. And I met Rianna a couple of years ago as part of UX Australia, and then sort of been hanging out with SydDT and collaborating on that as well. So I'm going to get out of the way, thankfully, at last. Who am I giving the mic to? You first, you're going to intro.
You're awesome. So,
Welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ben. Congratulations on the 10th birthday of this beautiful community. I mean, without this community, you know, I would be pretty much jobless in a way. So I'm trying to, you know, when Ben invited me to give a talk, you know, I said to Ben, I want to contribute to the community. You know, I want to contribute by bringing some interesting people and making this event as fruitful as possible. So I invited my friend Ian, Jessie, and Jason to join us. And because this whole design industry is very multidisciplinary, as you guys know, And I've been experimenting around different industry verticals, you know, from making in-flight entertainment systems to designing hybrid public furniture. So I think this is very important for the community to also hear our story about how you can capture opportunities, not just from your immediate circle, but also outside, across different continents, but also across transdisciplinary expertise. So without doing too much of a little jet lag talk, I'm gonna invite Jason, Jessie, and Ian to come up stage. We're gonna give we're gonna share with everyone a little fireside chat. Please. So Ian, I met Ian back in 2015 in Beijing Design Week, and he was experimenting a lot of stuff in China. And when I met Ian, the first question I asked him was, "Do you have a Chinese girlfriend?" And he told me, that was something your wife was interested about as well. So that's why we're still doing some weird stuff from now and then. I'll let you introduce yourself, then we're gonna, kick this off.
Hi everyone, it's really nice to be here. This is my first meetup. I've not really engaged with this group and organisation before, but it's really nice to see. So my name's Ian McArthur. I'm an associate professor of design at UNSW Art and Design here in Sydney. I'm not really sure too much what to say about myself. My interests are in graphic design and visual communications in spatial context. That's the general gist of the teaching that I conduct over at the Paddington campus. I'm more recently interested in AI, so I'm interested in that aspect of the conversation this evening. I've just come back from Venice, in fact, where I gave a presentation at a very interesting conference on AI and image making and the ethics and aesthetics of that. Okay.
Did you want to take a seat, be comfortable?
Yeah, I think that's good. Okay. Jessie, do you want to go?
Sure.
Next.
Can I sit down?
Yeah, let's.
Everyone speaking.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessie. I think I'm one of those disciplines that's a bit further away from the design world compared to the rest of you. I've worked mostly in early stage tech startups, and right now I'm doing a lot of work in data analytics, so model building. So I think that's a little bit further away to what a lot of you do, but I think I'm going to talk a little bit about how I find similarities between more data-driven environments compared to creative environments today. Yeah.
Cool. These guys have been very humble. Jessie is a serial entrepreneur, very successful, and Ian has been conducting super hyper experimental, innovative labs across different continents. You used to run a media architecture design group in China, right?
Yeah, in Chongqing.
In Chongqing.
Yeah.
And you also collaborated with a lot of leading industries across different disciplines. From lighting equipment manufacturers to software as a service companies, and all the way to
architecture.
Architecture.
Has been a big focus.
Yeah.
Media architecture, that kind of interface.
Yeah.
So that it works well with visual communications.
Yeah. All right, Jason, do you want to, quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. Oh, it's kind of weird. Like I'm holding my phone and you guys seeing me on the screen. So yeah, I'm Jason. Hello from Macau. I'm not sure if you guys been to Macau, but welcome you guys to Macau someday. So I host an event called the Beyond Expo in Macau every May, and we are one of the largest tech events in Asia. We want to bring together the Asian tech community together and showcase it to the world. So basically that's what we do. This year we had around 25,000 people came and around 800 exhibitors came to showcase. So companies like humanoids, flying cars, AI companies, so mostly from Asia. So they all came join our event, and it's a 3-day event, so people usually say it's very fun because it's in Macau. So hopefully one day we can have this community to join us in Macau.
Great. Cool, awesome. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Jason, you navigated across numerous industries, right? Collaborating with everyone from promising startups to Fortune 500 giants, working alongside global figures like David Beckham, and collaborating with companies like Tesla, etc. So I'm gonna start with you. I'm gonna start the first question with you. You able to hear me? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your best advice to creative professionals here on how to seize not only immediate opportunities but also leverage global platforms, like the one you have beyond Expo, and also digital channels like TikTok to expand their reach and influence internationally and capturing opportunities internationally?
I think from my point of view, the world is changing so fast these days. We do see AI happening to change a lot of industries. So we see a lot of companies that in Asia that are, usually we see a lot of innovation from the West, but then I think we do see a lot more from the East as well. So I think everyone should really use these kind of platforms to be able to reach out to a bigger audience, more overseas opportunities. I think, of course, Sydney is a great market, but I think Asia is has huge market opportunities. Like 60% of the population is in Asia. So I think by leveraging all these platforms in Asia, and I strongly believe that the next 10 years is going to be in Asia. So we hope that companies can really use these kind of platforms to expand their businesses.
Cool. Pretty awesome. Can you give us a few examples of how, for example, I came across, so we did a little gig in Macau. We were trying to help one of the casinos to reactivate their deactivated streets, if that makes sense. So it's sort of like providing a seamless journey full of urban installations to activate a little alleyway, and we captured this opportunity through Beyond Expo. We didn't know anything about it, and I saw an email, and basically they inviting us to join the expo and providing us, obviously we're going to cover our own costs, but I thought, we'll give it a shot. Then we actually bumped into legit business and a legit project. From the moment we bumped into these guys to the moment we saw the money came into the bank account, we closed the whole contract. It was not more than 2 months' time. So it's relatively very, very efficient. And maybe just give us 1 or 2 examples of some of the companies from overseas, capture some success via your platform and within the region.
Because I think a platform should be doing what you just mentioned, right? To connect different stakeholders together, decision makers together, or even investors together, right? So the best thing about our event is to really be able to connect different markets in Asia to different companies. We have people coming from like Japan, Korea, Southeast Asia, like Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and of course from mainland China as well. I think the world right now, we seems to be very, very connected in some sense, but as well very disconnected in terms of, I think there's still a huge information gap between countries and markets. So I think the purpose of having these kind of events, I believe you guys have been to a lot of events as well. I think the best takeaway must be I met my investors, I met one of the clients, I met a lot of potential investors, right? So I was just discussing with my co-founder as well. Like we were discussing like how many companies went public after coming to our events, right? So we just received one of our companies that join us continuously. It's called Insta360. Maybe you guys have used their products before. They just went public yesterday in China. Huge success. I think the stock price went up to 200%. So I think these are some examples that I think we wanted to provide to our companies. Oh, sorry, my kids are here. And yeah, so basically we wanted to connect different people together and different stakeholders, and I can't really tell a lot of examples, but that's basically what a platform like us should be doing.
Cool. Thanks, Jason. So, Ian, let's talk about the power of good taste. Steve Jobs famously said, design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. With AI providing powerful tools to build and test ideas quickly, could design taste and aesthetic judgment become the most valuable human skill in an innovation process?
Okay, I made some notes about this. Now, in a sense, designers, depending upon the discipline and the kind of outputs that we're producing, we've always had a stake in being tastemakers. With the onset of AI, I think that's going to be, well, it's already quite transformative, but I don't think we've seen anywhere near what is going to happen. And that's got big implications for the design process and the role of design and the kinds of functions that designers engage in. And I think that we're going to see our role evolve into a more curatorial kind of emphasis. And that's going to be quite a critical process. And so inevitably, the kind of values and aesthetics that we bring to the projects that we're working on is going to play into how taste evolves. It's actually a big question, Steven. Probably we don't have time to kind of unpack a lot of it, but the values that we bring to the process, aesthetics, as I said, and the ethics, they're all going to be really important and going to shape that taste-making dimension of design practices. Yeah.
Thanks, Dr. McArthur. So Jessie, as a serial entrepreneur with a remarkable track record across a diverse, range of sectors, from product-driven ventures to strategic roles in publicly listed companies, you've done a lot of stuff. So the question is, what would you suggest to all of us here, to the creative professionals here, looking to effectively blend analytical skill set and mentality with creativity to drive impactful innovation?
Thanks, Steven. You flatter me. I've also made some notes. I have done quite a few things with my career up until now. Yeah, blending between, you know, ad agencies and like corporate tech project management to a later stage working with my own startup as well as advising early stage startups on their growth. And most recently, like I mentioned, I'm working in pretty hardcore data analytics. And coming from, you know, doing modeling and looking at numbers and looking at patterns, and then to switching between that mode and more creative, ambiguous, creative environment and early stage startups can seem like a dichotomy at first. But I found the more I put myself in that situation, that push and pull, the more I find similarities in these two disciplines. And I think what's shaped me in this moving fluidity between data-driven, very structured environments and messy, creative environments is that tension. And I believe for me, that tension is what creates the gold at the end of the day. Instead of choosing one discipline over the other, I believe blending the two together is very important in business and I assume in creative endeavors and projects as well. For example, for us in analyzing data and models, looking at it in a fresh new way, answering questions in a fresh new way, and analyzing patterns, looking at it from different perspectives, I assume would be very similar to what a creative would be doing with, you know, your projects and artworks as well, and vice versa. Approaching creative projects, design thinking in our early stage startups, for example, with a very, I guess, strict rigor, testing all of our designs and putting that out to market and collecting data in a very diligent way is also a way that we're combining them both together. And I think, is that a beat for me? It's like debating. I think it's also quite important for me, I want to emphasize not to use data as a crutch, especially in what I've seen in later stage, more mature projects, probably, you know, creative projects, but also more mature organizations. We use data as a crutch. It's something that we just go do, we report, and then we put it out of the way. I think it's really important, if I'm thinking about it from a creative perspective, to really double click on the areas where when we do have data and we have creative intuition, when they don't match up, we really hone in on what the issue is, spend time looking at that, which I think a lot of people don't have time to do or don't have the business acumen to do. But that is where a lot of our strongest pivots for our startups and creative ideas do come from. So I think that would be something that I would suggest if we're looking at combining data with creativity. And then, yeah, to anyone who's trying to combine the two, which I hope is most people, I wouldn't let data kill your ideas. Instead, I would let it be your evangelist and let it push you forward, because it will help you cut through a lot of the emotions, a lot of the ambiguity, and perhaps give you a bit of guidance in, you know, this ambiguous world. Yeah, hope that.
Cool. It's pretty awesome. Excuse me if I'm not asking the right questions, but I'm just curious, with a show of hands, how many of you mainly work with aesthetics? Like, you know, it's more about interface design, purely graphics, feature design, interaction design.
How many people call themselves a designer in their daily work?
Cool. That's a better question. Thank you.
About 50%.
Yeah, and can I also just out of curiosity, right? And how many of you are paying for the GPT Pro? Plus, like $20. Cool. Yeah. You're paying for Pro, and so with what Jessie just said, if you're not coming from a purely analytical or a data-driven background, you mainly care about the feature designing, the craftsmanship. Do you guys think GPT can do some of that analytical part of the job for you?
I think some have tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's not cool, but it's nice.
Yeah. What do you think, Jessie?
Yeah, I definitely think there's an opportunity with AI in the mix now to, accelerate that process. And I think essentially what ChatGPT is doing, or like AI and all of this, is combining big data, loads and loads of information, and outputting it in creative ways, in ways that ways that we can or can't think of. So yeah, I would say, to the point I was talking about, this is kind of a formation of that idea. Yeah, at the end of the day, we can really utilize it and use it, to our own benefit.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I think the analytical potential of some of the AIs is actually really positive and really interesting. An interesting exercise is to ask a GPT to retroactively analyze your work against a set of criteria or a theoretical framework, for example. I'm currently kind of in the final stages of a chapter I'm hoping to publish, responding to peer review, and one of the things I've been doing in that chapter is actually that, setting up a theoretical framework. In this instance, it's about the future of cities. It's looking at more than human kind of approaches to design and human nature relationships. And so there's a theoretical framework, and I'm asking, in the chapter, I'm asking that GPTs like Claude and ChatGPT to analyze and report and spit out a kind of table that kind of gives an analysis of 3 projects, 3 case studies that I've conducted with other people in Chongqing pre-COVID, and getting feedback around how relevant or how successful these projects are in relationship to this theoretical framework. It's a very interesting exercise. I don't think the results are conclusive, but I think it holds some, and it demonstrates some of the promise that we can experiment with.
Yeah.
Great. So here are some really light-hearted questions. So could you guys tell us how many hours of sleep do you typically get each night? So I'm gonna start with you, Ian.
I guess I've been a bit of a night owl most of my life, but these days, I'm an old guy, I tend to try and get sleep about midnight, and depending upon what I've got to do or where I've got to be, I'm up around 6:30, 7:30 in the morning. So that's kind of what I aim for. 6 hours, I guess, is adequate. Might not be the ideal, but it's kind of interesting question actually, Steven, because this idea of getting 8 hours sleep, it really only emerged in the late 19th century, and it kind of came about because industry and economics kind of demanded that people would be there at 9 o'clock and finish. And also like the light technologies influenced how people's sleep patterns as well. So it's actually a more interesting question than immediately it kind of appears.
Yeah. So Let me finish the second part. So the second part is, could you share with us one specific daily habit you consciously practice to reduce stress or boost your creative process?
Okay. I try and leave a bit of space every day to just think and reflect. And that helps me kind of de-stress if things are full on. And it is time for ideas. I think ideas need to percolate. And I guess I'm fortunate. I live in the Blue Mountains, so I live in this very peaceful kind of bushland setting. Getting out into nature is something I like to do every day. And these things help me do that. Yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Jason?
How many hours of sleep?
Yeah.
Depends. So usually 6 to 7 hours. During the event, 3 to 4 hours. Because we have a lot of parties at night. So less sleep during the events. But yeah, to reduce stress, I eat a lot. Stress eat. So I think that's basically how I reduce my stress. But I'll be stressed after I see my tummy as well. So yeah.
And to boost your creative horsepower?
Sorry, couldn't hear you.
To boost your creative process, to boost your creativity?
I felt like without a lot of sleep, I don't have a lot of creativity. So I usually use GPT or DeepSeek to help boost my creativity.
Cool. Not Perplexity?
Yeah, perplexity.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks, Jason. What about you, Jessie?
It really varies. So I'd say somewhere between 4 hours to 8 hours. I have a 2-year-old, so that explains a lot of it.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Sometimes it's 2 hours. I mean, I drink a lot of coffee during the day, and then to de-stress, I have wine, but also I practice this thing called the physiological sigh, which I find has been really, really helpful for me. It's basically what you inhale twice and then you sigh out, and it's proven to help reduce cortisol by however many %. So that's been really helpful. And I think a thing that, I don't work in the creative field per se, but something that I've found really boosts my creativity or problem solving skills is being bored. Just doing nothing, having no plans, no screens, no books, just kind of being. That's when I'm just thinking a lot. I get a lot of ideas and I try to solve problems in my head, and that's when kind of things come up, which is probably similar to being in nature, right? So that's that. Hopefully that answers those 2 questions.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So I've got one more question, and we're gonna take some questions from the audience. And this one is about future-proofing the creative profession. Given the increasing automation of many specialized skills, what key design capacities should current and future designers develop now to ensure they remain competitive in a future economy powered by AI and robotics? So, Ian, you seem pretty passionate about answering this one. You want to go for it?
Yeah, I'll go first. This is actually top of mind, really, for me, obviously, as an academic at the moment. This question, what do our students need to be able to do now? Because, as you all no doubt realize, AI is already being adopted widely in industry. Some people there's a very interesting British academic in the architecture field, Neil Leach. He runs this amazing platform called Digital Futures, which I highly recommend. But he says, that people who are not conversant with AI will be relatively unemployable compared to people who have AI skills. And I can already see evidence that this is happening. One of my Masters by Research graduates late last year said to me, he works in Asia a lot, and he's a very experienced visual communication professional and academic, and he said to me, Ian, I can't get a job at the moment because I don't know enough about AI. So he is now engaged in a PhD at RMIT, where he's starting to explore AI and its potential in his particular area. So yeah, it's really uppermost in my mind as an educator. So we can say, oh well, we teach our students prompt engineering, but I think that's relatively easy to model and to impart. But I don't think it goes far enough, and so the skill sets that I encourage my students to embrace, firstly, are collaborative with other designers, other stakeholders, people from different disciplines, because interdisciplinarity is the future, really. It's the present. But also this collaborative kind of space is opening up with other intelligences. I mentioned more than human design before. I'm also interested in ideas like pluriversal design. So I'm thinking that this is the direction that design education needs to go in. It needs to be very critical and reflexive. And in order to kind of ameliorate that tendency in AI to kind of flatten out the kind of outcomes that it produces, I think it's really important for us as students and professionals to start to work on developing our own meta-language around our practice that reflects the things I mentioned before, like your ethics and your aesthetics and the values that you're bringing to your practice. And to develop that language so it kind of promulgates your own voice and your own unique voice using AI, which I think is the direction that I'd like to see my students go in. And I actually see a lot of resistance amongst my students. They're worried about academic integrity, they're worried about the long-term impact on their own creativity, and so forth. There's this sense AI is cheating. And I try and respond to that by kind of providing a lot of contextual detail and kind of reminding them about those employment implications. But yeah, I think there's some of the things that I think we need to do. The technical fundamentals are relatively easy to deal with, I think. The other note I've got here is about the development of a personal and professionally relevant but unique kind of meta-language. I think that's huge. But it needs to be couched in critical reflection on their relationship to society and clients, and the environmental context obviously is absolutely critical as well. I could go on, but I think I'm going to let other people carry on.
You said something about kind of the impact of using AI, whilst it's not cheating, but they worry about the implications on their long-term creativity.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? Do you think that's a very real aspect of it?
I do. Like, I think about my own use of it. Like, I'm using it daily now, for various different purposes. And I wonder how much
it becomes, that crutch that was mentioned before, and that's a danger. And I think that, and you think about I mentioned the environment just a moment ago. The environmental implications of using it are immense at the moment. Maybe that will be ameliorated and solved in the future, but at the moment, the amount of water that gets used just to, is tremendous. So I think critically, like, when do we use it? Why do we use it? How much do we use it? Are real questions. And then, what is the impact on my long-term creativity? Do I begin to rely on it too much? I think there's more questions than answers. We don't even know what it is.
100%. So, Jason, do you have anything to add? Otherwise, we're going to take some questions from the audience.
I'm not a designer by practice. I do feel like I hope that all these AI tools and whatever, it doesn't replace people. It helps people to be more efficient. It gives more people to have more idea. Like myself, when I have to think of questions that I have to ask my speakers, as a moderator, I use all these AI tools because I don't want to think of any questions. But yeah, I think it helps people to think in another way. So I still feel like designers has to have that human touch on products that humans humans would understand what humans want to have. So I think that's something that it wouldn't be replaced by machines. I hope so. So that's my 2 cents.
Cool, awesome. It's funny you said you're not a designer by practice, but obviously you're operating your own business, and it's a huge business, and you're gonna within that depth in the mud, you're gonna think about designing your business strategy, designing your revenue model, designing your team, designing your stock options, designing your revenue share opportunities. That's also a design mentality, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's more like a business operations, right? But that's when you run a business, these are the stuff that you encounter. But I think the best thing of doing an event is you get to meet a lot of people, right? So people will constantly feed you new ideas and advice, right? So I think we are in a business that we will never be replaced by AI, I would say, because we still need in-person meetings, we still need in-person events. So no matter how the industries are evolving, so I think that's the only concern that I don't have by being replaced by AI, but of course there are business operations considerations that we always have to make, right?
Cool, thanks. So we're gonna take some questions from the audience. If you guys have, please, we'll just start from the front. Here you go.
Cheers. I've got one for you, Ian, and this is you putting on your futurist hat, if you don't mind. I was wondering what spatial experiences will be most affected or transformed by AI, in your view?
Well, I wouldn't describe myself as a futurist, but I guess if I can go back to the chapter I mentioned, and I'm looking at how is AI already deployed in urban context. So it's already very much involved in things like traffic management, and I think it has potential in terms of managing lighting systems and other infrastructures in cities. But we're already seeing in our domestic environments, like I haven't personally gone too much into it, but I've got my little devices where I can talk to them and they'll play a piece of music that I want to listen to. Things can turn lights on and off in your house, so it's already happening. And I don't think that's going to diminish. It's only going to increase. You've got the self-driving cars. you know, that are happening in different parts of the world. We're walking around with AI in our pockets now. And it's in, you know, as designers, it's in the software now that we use. I don't know how much I'm really answering your question in terms of the future, because I'm kind of thinking it's here.
I'm just probably thinking aloud, but things like the recent documentary that was made on Bai Rianna Mo, which never has the same outcome.
Yeah, I saw that. It's amazing.
Yeah, so that's a movie you can go and see 100 times. It will never be the same.
It won't be the same. Yeah, that's right.
And to me, that's a very effective use of AI, where, you know, people aren't going to the cinema anymore, but suddenly there's an opportunity there to embrace the cinema, embrace art, embrace documentary making in a completely new lens.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think it really is going to, you know, as Jason's sort of talking about, AI is not going to, or he hopes it's not going to replace humans. I don't think it will. I think it'll probably displace us a little bit, but you know, it's down to us as designers and others, artists, to work out, well, how can we use this intelligence, this new kind of entity in the world that we seem to have stumbled upon, in ways that are creative and advantageous and won't kill us, and will create a better future. Because think of the potential in solving, you know, many of the wicked problems that we have, you know, in collaboration with AI, because it can process data so much quicker and probably in a much more precise way than we can.
Thank you. Cool.
Yes, I have a question about this whole interdisciplinary collaboration. It very resonated very much with me when you said, we humans bring morality, bring aesthetics to design. But how do we bridge at least that's how I sometimes experience, the seemingly gap that people, when they're more technical oriented versus more design, human oriented, their foundational views of the world, more the natural world, where things are factually versus how things are being experienced and perceived. How do you bridge these gaps in one team?
I think the key to successful collaborations, at least in my experience, has been bringing together people with very diverse skill sets and understandings of what they do and what maybe even what the project is. Because if you've all got the same skill set, you're kind of working over the top of each other, and I think the value comes from technical people, working with creative people, data analysts, curators. But it's easy to say that, but in practice it can be really difficult. Like I did a project a number of years ago with Vespa, the Italian motorcycle company, and the engineering faculty at UNSW and the art and design faculty at UNSW. And so the objective was to come up with new ideas for Vespa products. And the project was run out of the art and design faculty. And all the intentions were great, but the way engineers and people at art and design at UNSW think anyway are quite different, and so it wasn't as successful as it could have been. I feel and there was a lot of misunderstanding of each other's kind of ways and approaches, and the expectations were different. So maybe one of the solutions is to make sure the expectations are aligned. I think that's probably just good management, good team management anyway. But it's not always easy. I don't have the magic kind of answer to your question. Yeah. And I just think that we have more and more complex problems. It is really something we have to work on.
Have you ever collaborated with more creative as a data engineer or data scientist?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think in a like early stage business projects, we often have like designers, for example, industrial designers, someone we often use for consumer products, and then I think not that one. So we definitely approach things in very different ways. I think that takes, like Ian said, like definitely it is a discipline to be able to manage different personalities, different approaches, views of the world to come together. But when they do, it creates a lot of alignment and magic, and that's when stuff happens. But yeah, it is the friction between different disciplines, and especially between more technical and often with software products, we do have a layer of design and they have a layer of very technical people. And as I've worked as a technical project manager, and there's so much friction between the two groups of people culturally and from understanding perspective, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of meetings, a lot of communication to be able to achieve the same goal and the same vision, like Ian said, which at the end of the day is what you need to be able to achieve something.
Cool.
Hello. So the three of you have tried things in many different ways. You've started companies, you've bridged across different functions, you've tested the boundaries of AI in a space where you're spearheading it, right? And you're finding this space to find new ideas. When you come to the ideas, it seems like you're actually taking them, you're actually trying to do something with them. What do you recommend to other people who are also bored and also coming face to face with these ideas but are not doing anything with them?
It's down to us to... I guess, like the simple answer to that, it's down to us to make it happen. Like you start to do it and take that first step. I guess it's easy for me to say that, but that's how you make things happen. You do it. The thing about ideas, you can have them, and if you don't act on them, they fly away. They gradually dissolve. So taking action in some way, even if it's just like, write this down, and then do something about it tomorrow, is the way to go. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, absolutely, and I think it's a good reminder to tell people to just go do it now.
Yeah.
What makes it hard, do you think? What's the barrier that people have to
fear
jump?
Of failure, or lack of self-confidence. People get worried. You get worried about what people will say. Fear of looking stupid. You just got to put all that aside. Some of the greatest sort of products and ideas that have been initially kind of seen as ridiculous, but have been highly successful. It's the nature. I guess part of my attitude to it is, I see myself, I guess, in part as a researcher, and it's about experiments. And the other thing, I acknowledge my privilege and my fortunate position. I've kind of always taken the view, well, I just want to do what I want to do and do it, and that's how you do it, kind of thing. I can't really put a more sophisticated take on it than that. I hope that's sort of some kind of a valid response.
I think bravery is probably
bravery,
courage to fail fast.
Oh yeah, fail fast. Fail
Yeah,
fast.
I mean that gets thrown around a lot, but yeah, yeah. But I think in the age of AI, you can fail fast and fail completely these days. In the way that before AI, we have ideas, we test out little things, you know, a part of a project, a part of an idea. But with AI, you can build an entire software, a product within a day. And you fail completely. If it doesn't work, you know. Yeah, so I think that's the beauty of it. And yes, you have to be more courageous to, like, my entire idea went to shit. Like, yeah, but I think in a way that's really good. And you move on, and then you don't dwell on it, and yeah, you keep going. So I don't know if that answers your questions either.
I think there's another, yeah.
Hi, yes, thank you. Jessie, I was curious about data-led design decisions. Do you have a situation where a data-led design decision was rather unexpected or actually very contradictory?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry.
You mentioned how data informed design.
Yes.
Do you have an example or a situation where the data-led decision was rather unsuspected?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I was helping Lavazza out a couple of months ago, and I don't know if you know, the coffee industry is going through a big price hike, and we, you know, crunched some numbers, did some forward looking, and there is no way we can keep the current packaging, the pack size, and keep on making the same revenues without disrupting, being discontinued from all of our vendors and suppliers. I'm not sure if this fits in with your questions exactly, but I feel like this is an example where our data is there, but our business decisions, our emotions, like, can't keep up with the data, and there is no data evangelist being like, this is actually happening. It's a really real reflection of the current state. Wake up, move on. We need to change. But we didn't make any changes to our pack sizes because it was just, emotionally, like, very painful for the organization as well as operations. And I'm sure a lot of people who worked in larger organizations have experienced that before, where the data says something, but we really can't act on it. You know, as an organization, it's not fast enough. So I think in that way, it was quite frustrating for me as a data evangelist, where it was so real. It's something that's going to happen in the very near future that we can't do anything about it. I think I would say that's one of the examples where the data and then the business intuition or the creative intuition didn't really match up.
Is this coffee thing from environmental thing?
Pure revenue, because coffee bean prices have been
because of environmental constraints.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course. It's because of global warming, essentially.
And are you using AI to crunch the data on the coffee stuff?
We was just us data analysts. But I mean, we could have used AI as well.
And then that could be contributing to the environmental disaster.
Yes, correct. That's true. That's very true. Yes. Good thing we did it.
Actually, I might have a follow-up question for all of you. I know there's been a huge focus on AI, but in the current economic situation within businesses, there's an increasing focus on cost and business operations. Is that something designers would benefit from learning more about?
We'll get Jason to quickly answer this one because he needs to jump, right? Here you go, man.
Sorry, I missed the question.
No worries, Jason. Happy to repeat it. In the current also economical climate where there's a lot more of a focus on operational as well as cost-driven decisions, do you think it's becoming more important for designers to be aware of that?
Yeah, I think not only designers, but everyone, right? I think every industry is working with different industries, so I think we do see a lot of like cross industry collaboration and business and all those. So I felt like it's essential for everyone to be more adaptive and understand different industries or sectors to really build a successful business.
Thank you.
Cool. I mean, we can continue, but Jason needs to jump to his family celebrations. I'd like to thank, on behalf of Ben, I'd like to thank Jason for joining us. It's really nice to have you. But do you want to take a quick photo before Jason logs out?
Got loads.
You got it? Cool, awesome. All right, thanks a lot, Jason.
Thank you.
Take care.
I hope to see you guys at my event.
For sure.
All right. Thank you.
All right,
Take care.
thanks. Cool. So yeah, I'll let you. So after this fireside chat, we're gonna have a quick presentation. Then we're gonna wrap up the event, right, Ben?
Yeah, we'll have to be very quick.
We're very quick, huh?
Due out now.
Okay, cool, awesome. Do you wanna, obviously it was a question for all of you guys.
Oh, I don't think I have any more to add to that. But,
Yeah, look, I think it's a huge question, very important. Clients and organizations want a return on their investment in design. I think AI in the mix, like I said before, there are more questions than answers. How do we make business sense from a design perspective? How do we make business sense of design at speed? Like AI is seen as this optimization tool. It's all about efficiency, about designing faster. What's the business model for that? And I think that's a huge question. And I think what it probably comes down to is entrepreneurs coming up with new business models that we don't, we don't know what they are yet. But I think, that is going to be the future because those pressures aren't going to go away. I can't see that happening. But how do we make money as designers? How do we make design as a profession sustainable in this kind of emergent kind of context? That's a big question, I think. So I don't have the answer, but like I said, they're questions from my perspective, for what it's worth.
Awesome. Any questions from the audience? Okay, we got the last one.
Very last one.
I was just wondering, with AI being able to replace some of the roles of mentoring, how do we still have good mentorship and any advice for people early in the career?
Look, good mentorship. The need for good mentorship is enduring,
and that's another thing that young and not so young people still need, and will need into the future. Yeah, I think to some extent AI can function as a mentor, but that kind of human interaction, that has empathy. I don't know how much empathy AI can actually exhibit in a really convincing way, and that kind of identification with the challenges of being a young practitioner, no matter what field you're in. I think that human empathy and wisdom that comes through in those relationships is still needed. I don't think it's going to go away. and it will probably evolve given the experiences that we will no doubt have in the coming years that will change the way we design, the way we think about design, and so I'm kind of trailing off there, but they're my general thoughts for what.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, similarly, the human connection is something that can't be replaced, but I mean, I complain to my AI daily and access my therapist these days, and I was going to say again, but the nuances of someone's career trajectory and life experience and emotional journey also can't be replicated between two people, between a mentor and the mentee, somewhere early in their relationships. The small nuanced conversations they might have in business meetings or interviews. But then I thought about that can also be replicated. That can be someone's autobiography can be inputted into the AI. So yeah, like you said, that poses more questions than answers there. So I don't know. That's a really interesting question.
It's a really interesting question. Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you. Lots to think about.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Ian and Jessie. I hope this is a good gig for everyone. So we're gonna wrap this up, but we can chat over a cup of wine and continue the conversation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks everyone.
So, I mean, we're supposed to have a quick, like a super lightning talk about what we do for what I do for a living. It's I'll try to. It's a 15 minutes presentation, but I'll try to do it in 2 minutes and maybe 3 minutes. So.
Say happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
That's perfect. We got a new one.
Awesome. There you go. All right. So I
stand over there so you're in camera.
I'm the chief entertaining officer of Sencity. So we've been doing this for a little while now. Ever since I graduated, I joined a company called Atlassian. Sarah was actually my former colleague. And we try to unleash the potential of public spaces. I know it sounds very naive in a way. It sounds very hard because you're doing things with the city. You're dealing with bureaucracies. You're dealing with municipalities. I'm just gonna go through the slides real quick. We have a product called the Sandbox. It's like a TV set-top box for public spaces. Like if we rewind the clock 20 years back, it doesn't matter if you buy a Samsung TV or a Xiaomi TV, a 2000 Sony TV, you're gonna need a set-top box to be able to get access to more programs. Right? A similar mentality is for the cities. They're gonna have a set-top box for the building facade, different screens, LED, LCD screens in the city to be able to get access to more experiences. And we build a cohesive software hardware interplay ecosystem to provide them with the experiences. I'm gonna go through real quick. We've been doing a lot of this stuff, right? For example, on the city level, we sold the sandboxes to more than 40 cities across the world. This is a case study with the Marriott Hotel. We're helping the customer to manage the experiences on the building facade in a more cost efficient, but also more interesting way. This is some of the 3D anamorphic gimmicks we've done with just the call. You see, this one looks really 3D because it's not a video clip. We're utilizing the game engine Unity to reverberate the edges. So it's not actually a video clip being displayed on an LED screen. The edges are vibrating, so it creates this illusional effect. When we perceive it, it looks like it's 3D. It's a gimmick, but now you know the gimmick. You might be able to do something similar and
sell it to public space and offline assets, owners and operators as well. So the sandbox is the hub to connect different assets in the built environments. We've done a lot, a lot of the public installations, but
Sencity is all about creating
what we're doing differently is not, this is a touch-up beam. This is one of our first projects back in university, but we commercialized it and we sold, almost 800 units to customers across the world. So now we also built a platform called Sencity operating system to work with our sandboxes. And the entire mentality is about, hey, we've been hearing so much about the desktop platform and the mobile platform. What could be the next generation for, the next paradigm for value creation? And we think that's the city, that's public spaces. So this buzzword called spatial computing, and we think that's the spatial environment. Because from an evolutionary point of view, we're mucking around desktop, then we muck around mobile platforms, now we jump back into physical spaces, right? And when we look at the real problems, urbanization problem is a real issue because a lot of people are moving into the cities, and that creates opportunities for us, interaction designers, to create products and services to alleviate these problems. We're not just building like all of us, right? We're not just designing, things that work on mobile. We're designing to alleviate, urbanization issues and other problems. That was me at Atlassian, and I was looking back in time. That's our first Vivid project back in 2014. And that was me announcing our latest technology back in 2017. It all looks pretty cool. This is a customer video. I think the slides got messed up. I'll show you guys this one. So this is one of our customers from Belgian railway station, and he recorded this video clip himself. That's how touchable you see all the cigarette butts and got really messed up. But that's the reality when you're dealing with municipalities, when you're dealing with people from public spaces. They're not sitting in front of their computer, looking at an iPhone in the palm of their hands. You're dealing with real uncertainties. It all looks pretty shiny, pretty cool on the surface, but that is the reality, right? I got hospitalized so many times throughout the past decade because we got scammed by manufacturers in different places. We got scammed in Shenzhen, we got scammed here and there. Just when you're making hardware, it's so many problems. I feel like I aged 20 years. And we got some stakeholders, BMW, I'm not gonna talk too much about this. And the technology is sort of becoming the Australian ambassador to China, and also a lot of the politicians, they really liked it as well. Also like utilizing it as a Australian design brainchild. I'm not going to talk too much about it today, but we did a lot of stuff. This is the latest one. It's an AI-enabled tree. We talk about spatial computing, and we're going to deploy in a lot of the airports in Saudi Arabia, and all in Middle Eastern market. And that's the real photo of the tree. It's you guys know how this works. It reacts to your sentiment. So if you say something like, "Hey, I'm not really happy. I'm gonna, I'm in a very, very bad mood," it's gonna give you an experience trying to cheer you up. It's a typical design mentality, but we're bringing that into the physical realm. We're bringing that into public spaces. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much what we do. We're trying to attack as many industry verticals as possible. In each of the different industry verticals, we have a lot of applications, both from the software side and the hardware side. Yeah, that's my lightning talk, and we have another one to look at.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
If you're doing like Vivid this year, and if so, do you have any installations going on, and is it? All I'm saying is this: if you're doing Vivid this year, or if you've done Vivid in the past, which you've shown, what kind of installations do you have done?
You know, when I was going through university, it's very, I had that drive to wanted to get into Vivid because it's a great platform to demonstrate your capacity and also to, you know, land yourself a job. But right now, you see a lot of stuff we're doing at Sencity. We're all about deploying permanent experiences to public spaces. So I moved on from deploying something that's temporary. You know, I wanted to be part of the infrastructure. I wanted to be part of the urban fabrics, the urban elements, you know, to enhance the everyday permanent experiences. If that answers the question.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. There you go.
Oh my god, thank you everyone. I'm supposed to be speaking first, and there's some like tech issues, like so I have to change my starting. This is gonna be a light starter for some heavy hitting discussions with awesome speakers here tonight. But thank you for being in this delightful moment with me, because we're gonna talk about the design moment. Well, as a young professional and just graduated a couple years ago and still early in my career path, I guess the most valuable message I can deliver tonight is my most sincere, real, and genuine feelings. Before I start, I actually want to ask my audience one simple question. Can you recall a special design moment that you truly moved you, either good or bad? Any of you? Like a special design moment like triggered your emotions. Oh, we got some silence here, that's okay. Because I'm going to share you 3 stories, like very personal, and it's like purely, I want to say like the journey, how the world shaped me, who I am today, through those small design memories. It's okay, we can talk about this after the speech and you probably get inspired. The first one is about a box of chocolate. So when I was a little girl, I was incredibly sensitive to color and texture, materials. I have to touch it, I have to sense it, I have to smell it. So one day when we were shopping at the mall, and my mom and I stood in front of 2 boxes of chocolate. One with this like simple bold design, like it's colorful, it's got big text on it. The other one actually caught my attention. It's something different. It has a matte finish. It's have a soft fabric on it, wrapped around it. It's rounded angle with some glitter shimmer, caught the light. I pointed at that one, immediately said, "Mom, I want this one, it's a better design." The moment I said the word design, it shocked me. Like I've never used the word before, probably picked it up from school or TV, and that moment stayed with me. And my mom said, "Girl, you really know how to pick. That one is $10 more expensive." Well, that is the very moment I learned design adds value. So like design actually impacts perceptions, experiences, and even pricing. Well, yeah, so come to the second story quickly. It's about the needle incident. When I was in year 10, I was doing this textile design. I was designing a beautiful dress and about to finalizing one little detail to stitch doing one more stitch with sewing machine. So you know, for any good tailor, your hands and feet has to work in perfect coordination. Well, in my case, things went out of control. I was obviously in a rush and I'm about to hit my deadline. Everyone knows when you're about to hand off a design project. So my fabric jammed, my hands panicked, my feet pressed even harder, make the sewing machine goes like, shoo, like both of my hands went forward, and there's a huge sound, like everyone look at me because they know something went wrong, the machine broke down. And I was looking at my middle finger right here, half of the needle actually embedded in my flesh. It gave me PTSD after that. That's another reason I'm not a fashion designer today. Well, that was the very moment I didn't even feel pain first. I feel anger. I feel this frustration. Why couldn't it have a safety feature? Obviously, that was not an expensive machine. And this moment I realized design is not about just making things pretty. It is about functionality, it's about safety, it is about care. Design anticipate with risks, and we have to protect people, right? And then coming to the sad story, it was actually happened during a business trip I took with Steven and Evan, another co-founder of Sencity. We got invited to the LEAP 2024 innovation. So we visit this beautiful stunning culture center of Daman. For me, it looks like almost like majestic serpent king rises up from the cracked, dry desert. And the moment I stepped into it, those the picture I've taken. Apologies, I'm not a perfect photographer, but the moment I stepped in, I was blown away by the details of the railings, the tiles. Like I was looking at all this, like you look at this stainless steel tubes. The whole building was constructed using a special machine to bend and label like each unique pieces to put up all these interiors, amazing interiors. And I was walking at the museum, this library, there's an entertainment center, there's huge exhibitions going on with all the wonderful art and designers coming together. And a particular moment, actually, I'm gonna read you Isra's mission. That is the moment, give me goosebumps. Isra aims to make a tangible and positive impact on human development by inspiring a passion for knowledge, creativity, and cross-cultural engagement for the future of Kingdom. I literally have goosebumps. Why? Because when I was walking through this museum, I was like following the line they drew on the ground. If any one of you played in Nintendo Switch, there's the game called Animal Crossing, I bet they have learned from each other because that's exactly the same idea, same level of creativity I've seen. It's amazing. Like, imagine a little kid spending a whole day here. How life-changing could that be? I strongly recommend you to Google Isra right now and just like get inspired. How like you can sense the message that designer try to deliver behind all of this. Like, just to tell you, I have so much respect in my heart. Just that the moment I learned design is powerful. Design can educate people. Design conveys meanings and pass on beliefs. And that completely, I get the whole message, and I'm thrilled to be here to share with you with that very moment. So, all those spatial interactions I've just like touched on, I have more design memories like resonate with me deeply in my heart, reminds me who I am, reminds me why I'm doing design, why do I love design, why we on this hard path rather than other people just thinking making money, making profits, complete this cash flow. But the reason I'm doing design because I'm so attached with this physical and human experiences. I want to make impacts. I want to do things that I have once dreamed. And I just like, this one last message, if I can deliver tonight at the end of the gig, it would be hold on to your moments, keep them close to you. It's those memories and rooted us, keep us grounded, remind us why we started, why do we care, and why we have to keep going. Thank you so much. Happy birthday! Can you sing the birthday song?
That was awesome. Thank you. It was a rapid fire finish to a awesome night. So thanks a lot again to Jessie, Ian, Rianna, Steven, Jason, and Macau. A huge thanks again. And thanks everyone for bearing with us through our technical fun. Hopefully you got some interesting insights. I did, and we're going to talk about them at the pub, not here, because we were due to get out of here a long time ago. So we're going to the Occidental, the Occy, the dodgy pub across the road, not because it's good, but because it's close. So that's where we're going. The regulars just follow, but we're going to get out of here quick, smart. We're going to do the draw. We'll do it live, but live on video, not live in the room. So Ricardo and I will work that out tomorrow. We'll let the winners know. They might have even been in this room. They might not have been. But there's oh no, that's too many slides to get through in a hurry. One last shot at the QR code if you haven't already got it. So thanks again to all our awesome speakers. That's the QR code. If you haven't got it, this is your last chance. And come and join us next month. We'll be doing it all again, but not in this room. We'll be at Think Place in Surrey Hills next month. So thanks a lot for coming, and see you at the pub. And let's get out of here.
So 10 seconds. All right. All right. So 2, 3, 1. All right. So these are the winners: Berta Rincon and Renata Zanetti. I'll be um, trying to reach you out to join us this Friday for the course. All right. Talk soon, guys. Thank you.